Crossing these seas is more dangerous than ever. Thousands of African migrants die each year trying to get to Europe.
None of them know how to swim. Nobody survives from that.
This is the story of one man's astonishing journey through deserts, over borders and across the sea.
I don't think any one of you can imagine what this really means.
Now he's made a successful life for himself in Spain, but he's still asking, was it really worth it?
My mission is to share these stories until there are no more stories like this to tell. My life was happy and simple until I saw an airplane flying over the sky of my village. I was told that was an airplane made by the white men and only white people could fly inside there. So my dream of going to the white man's world someday, every single day keep increasing and increasing. At the end, I made the decision to leave my country, to abandon my family, my traditions, at the age of 13.
Usman's decision to leave his home in Ghana eventually brought him to Barcelona in search of a better life. Usman travelled all the way here to Spain. This is where his home is now. This is where he feels safe. But his message to others, don't do it. A surprising message from someone who has constantly questioned whether it's all been worthwhile. When Usman got here, he had to sleep rough for 2 months on the pavement at the entrance of an underground car park.
So at night, the door closes. But for me, this corner is really an excellent hiding place. But anytime a car is coming out or goes in, I can't be sleeping meanwhile the car is passing, so I have to wake up.
But the streets of Barcelona were easy compared to the unimaginable journey he took to get here from Ghana. First to neighbouring Burkina Faso and onto the Saharan Desert in Niger. He was told it would take just 3 days. It didn't. Abandoned by their traffickers, Usman's group were left alone in the desert for weeks.
So he was quite positive until we started seeing dead bodies. The first person from our group to die, it was really shocking, definitely. After 19 days working with people who becomes your family, your friends, your everything, just decide that they just want to die and you just can't do anything to it. You are even willing for him to die so you could take his shoes or his, it's too much.
He says about 40 of them started their journey into the Sahara, but many died in the desert and did not make it to Libya. But Usman was still determined to get to Europe. He found a new group and headed to Tunisia, then Algeria, Mali, Morocco, and finally Mauritania. The final and most dangerous leg of the journey.
Every minute I was thinking, the next 5 minutes I will be down this water. I will be dying.
Usman's fears were justified. He saw a boat capsize carrying 200 people, including his best friend Musa.
But because none of them know how to swim, nobody survived from that. When our boat came to the coast, I have to run, jumping over the dead bodies. I know I couldn't have done anything to his dead body, but at least just say goodbye,
It was a journey which took years to complete. He watched most of the people around him die, but Usman finally fulfilled his dream, making it to the shores of Europe. It's a journey many are still making. Spain's getting a record number of migrants. In 2018, it was more than 57,000. In 2019, that number's expected to go up. Not only that, the journey that they're making across the Mediterranean Sea is more dangerous. An estimated 1 million people travelled into Europe in 2015. 3,771 died. In 2018, just over 140,000 made similar journeys, leading to 2,277 deaths. So fewer people made the crossing, but it was far more dangerous. The chance of dying was 4 times greater. In one stretch along the Libyan coast this year, 1 in 4 people lost their lives. Enormous risks taken in the hope of finding a better life ahead. But many Africans we spoke to on the streets of Barcelona are struggling. Some say they're even earning less in Europe than they were back home, and they're ashamed to tell their families what life is really like.
The reality is what we can see here. Living on the street, sleeping on the floors, being pursued constantly by the police.
For many migrants, the reality of Europe means living on the edges of society, selling trinkets to tourists or collecting scrap metal. People like Ali from Senegal, who says he hasn't been home in a decade or seen his child since he was a baby. He told us he's earning so little he can't afford to send any money home.
Normal, ganar mi dinero normal. Yo lo que me ganar, yo lo que me ganar de verdad, yo lo que me ganar Senegal, yo no me lo ganar aquí.
Usman does believe he's one of the lucky few. Most people would say he's made a success of himself in Europe. Once illiterate, he now speaks multiple languages. He funded himself through university.
Through fixing bikes, I've been able to pay my university bills. The bicycle have given me the wings to fly.
But despite his success, for Usman, the struggle to get here wasn't worth it. Today he warns others from following in his footsteps. I wondered why. You've made a success of yourself. Okay. You've come all the way to Spain. Why won't you give others the chance to do that? Why are you saying that they shouldn't come?
I'm saying invest in the origin so they could get opportunities and they will not come. Let's change the way of approaching the problem.
Some people might say, why don't you do this from Ghana? Why do you have to do this from Spain?
I need to maintain my life in Spain and my life in Ghana at the same time. I'm the eye of my community in Europe, in Spain. By showing the realities of what's happening in my community, people could know why are we risking our life in this way. The impact is more effective.
In many ways, Usman's a poster boy for young African migrants dreaming of a life in Europe. But he says he remains haunted by his experiences.
The feeling to see how horrible, how terrifying it is, and you still get back to the boat, knowing very well that you are going to die. That's why I think my mission is to share these stories until there are no more stories like this to tell.